I'd like to call to order the regular meeting agenda for the hybrid meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals, January 8th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the first floor conference room at Main Street. Could you all please stand for the pledge of allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Charles Gade, present. Kevin Danby here. Alfred Chubb Wilcox here. Marty Ladd here. Aaron Colwell here. Andrew Morosky here. Jonathan Miles
Here.
and Lori Deneen.
Here.
Seated for the first two applications will be myself, Kevin Danby, Alfred Wilcox, Marty Ladd, and Aaron Colwell. Continue public hearing 24/15-12 Hartridge Country Home Improvement LLC seeks a variance of R 24.1.1 permitted use not more than one dwelling per lot / two dwellings apartments on one lot proposed of the zoning regulations to permit the conversion of an existing retail unit to a two-bedroom apartment at 3 Town Beach Road, map 3/lot 150 Residence A District Coastal Area Management Zone, closed by 1/8/2025. You've used 23 of your 64 days. Who will be representing the applicant?
David Royston, attorney for the applicant.
It's all yours, Attorney Royston.
Thank you. I think we need to start with the most recent communication that came to me and to the board from Chief Spiro. Since the beginning of this application, there was the indication that the board wanted to hear from the traffic authority. So we did, at a previous meeting, provide a plan, parking plan for Chief Spira. And that plan was basically, he said it was tight, but the site may be able to accommodate the vehicles, one of them being a compact vehicle, if they're parked in the following manner. And I had anticipated when we provided him with a new plan, which plan removes the 10/16 attachment to make it available for parking, that since it was, in my mind, a better plan, that Chief Spirit would not have an issue with it. So first surprise in the new year, if you will pass out, or if they have the his statement, which basically is that.
Should I, would you like me to read it into the
Yeah,
record?
you might as well. It's
Okay.
fairly succinct.
Okay, subject to Chris Costa, in reference to 3 Town Beach Road, this email, the chief asked me to forward for the record. Please disregard last email. Mr. Royston, I do not endorse or support the proposed parking plan dated 1/25. I do support the plan that was created when we met in the field. The plan has 2 vehicles parked in the front structure and 2 parked on the side. The January 1st, 2025 plan, which demonstrates 4 vehicles parking on the side of the structure, is both unrealistic and unsafe. So stated by the chief of police.
In light of that, I have amended our statement of use, because the statement of use we previously submitted anticipated that the Spirit would approve that plan. And since he has not, I have done an amended statement of use and pass those down. The only difference between this and the statement of use you previously had is that reference to the parking plan being approved by Chief Spira is another one. has been deleted. So I'm going to just go through and show you, and then I'm going to ask the board to approve a slightly amended version of the plan that we presented to you in this application. The first, of course, is the existing conditions, and this existing conditions map, the most important part of it is that the attached 10 by 16 section of that building is to be removed. Now, the removal of that building for all purposes is an abandonment of any use that might have been or could be made of that section of the building. It's abandoned, it's gone, converted into proposal into an area for parking. We did provide also a request from the board to provide realization. Did provide realization based on proposed documents that getting the height of those building structures. Is a basically a site plan, which also has been revised, and that site plan is separate. I want to spend a little bit of time with you on just explaining what we did in the revised plan. Once having removed the building, we were able to put up against the building. 4 spaces are of legal size. They're all on the property. We also modified in our proposal the island. This island is both on our property and it extends into the right of way of Summerfield Road. This shows the vinyl fence, the location of that vinyl fence, which was not shown on a previous plan. Line to the east of Summerfield Road, that's the edge of the curve of the highway. So what this plan did, this proposal did was to remove portion of the, let's call it the island, the CLP telephone pole island, remove a portion of that up to our property line, that portion which is on our property line, and to close off the entry exit by putting on a wheel stop at that location. The wheel stop is shown on the detail of the wheel stop next page. That wheel stop would be put at the edge of the curve. You would just extend that curve and put the wheel stop just inside it. That prevents access to or from Summerfield.
Is that what you're like the precast wheel stops is what you're proposing to use for the face of the curb?
Yes, yes, that would be at the at the face of.
So there's no plan to permanently remove that access and landscape it?
Um, Probably what we could do is landscape a portion of it. But vehicle number 4 would be prohibited from making a turn to exit only onto Town Beach Road. That's why we left some room there.
I mean, I don't even see how number 4 can even get out of there.
It can back because the wheel stop would be up against the curb there. That's why there isn't landscaping there.
This is the plan that the chief was not in favor of.
This is one, it's not,
Who was at the meeting with the chief?
there was no one at the meeting with the chief.
So you just send him a copy.
I
So you didn't meet him out
I
on
sent
site?
it to him. He had already been on site, so he's familiar with the site.
You
sent the
do
copy.
remember that we talked about having a problem without not permanently, because remember before you had a pile of rocks you were gonna put there? This was, what my anticipation was, this was gonna be part of the professional landscaping plan. This was gonna be permanently blocked off.
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna want somebody backing out. And we talked about tandem parking.
Yeah.
Because it's clear that you don't have the radius.
Yeah, I don't see.
The alternative is, and this is what I'm would like to discuss with you, is, okay, you have a problem with the previous iteration, which he thought was okay. The previous iteration.
Here's my question. When you spoke or communicated with it,
Right.
did you tell that the board prefers to have that access closed off?
Oh, yes. Yes, in fact, my conversation with him resulted in a slightly revised plan. Email from him. Because I tried to find out what the problem was, but it was a fairly abrupt explanation that, and I said, well, he first of all said, do not endorse that plan. And I said, well, you did.
You sent him
The previous one. You sent him a new plan.
you sent him the first plan, he approved it. The second one you thought would be better.
Correct.
Without discussing it with him, and he
Correct.
didn't approve it.
Correct.
Have you discussed the tandem parking or taken the time to see if it would fit in this area?
The, when you say tandem parking,
One behind the other.
Yeah,
one behind
like,
you.
like.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It's interesting because in his statement, he refers to 2 on the side, but the plan that he had commented on was this one. This is
That's the one that he doesn't like.
this is the one, this is, I'll pass it up. This was his email.
Okay, I don't think we have that portion of the email. The bottom where it has the diagram.
I don't think you had that email at all.
I don't, that was not.
No.
That's the previous email. Okay, this is the
He's
one,
referring to this map when he says 2 in front and construction 2 parking the side.
that is, I think, a disconnect
Can you give
because
them copy to the clerk, please,
Yeah.
so that she has it for records.
see, there was the original plan going back. Way back had 2 spaces And that's, I think you're calling them tandem spaces, one behind the other.
What I had said probably the last 2 months
Yeah.
is alongside the building, one spot, then one spot behind the other,
Right.
and then another spot. So it's really 3 across, center one, double D.
Yeah.
That way, if Route 154, as you call it, a highway, is closed off permanently, there's no reason to have it. And it's safer. The other thing you've got here, there's no dimensions on your opening. I mean, that opening is, I don't know, what is it, 75 feet? I don't know. I mean, there's no mention of what the code is or whatever. The other thing that really needs to happen is when people pull out of here, there needs to be signs that say right turn only. Because if somebody pulls out of this lot, even, as far as stacking on Town Beach Road, even if you only have one car in the queue, where are they gonna go? They're gonna pull halfway out. Somebody coming the other way wants to pull in. It just doesn't make sense and it's not safe.
Right.
It's just, like I said last time, it's like you're spoon feeding us this half-baked plans. I just don't understand why.
Well, the reason why is that, given the plan to the surveyor, my request to him was to provide as best you can an appropriate parking of full-size vehicles on the lot with the ability to turn and get out of the parking space onto Town Beach Road. And this was the plan that he came up with. And that plan involved the cutting down the curb so there would be more room for each vehicle to be able to turn and then come out.
Yeah, but it's not there. Usually you'll see it, they can draw in the radius and show a car in the spot, and show the radius going back into a turnaround area. There's nothing like that because it's not gonna work.
Yeah, this
You
is-
don't have to be, licensed in the field to see that it's not gonna work. And as far as the opening onto Town Beach, I mean, it needs to be more directional. I mean, it could be set up where it's a smaller opening, because I'm sure that if you're before the zoning commission, that this would go nowhere.
Well, this is not a matter that has to go before the
So, but
zoning.
we still have the same concerns. We know what's safe and what's not safe.
Right.
I
And it's not
understand.
safe to have an opening this one through an S curve in Summerfield. It just, by your client's testimony alone, I mean, the amount of kids and alluding that it could be dangerous there. We all know, I spent 10 years in Cornfield Point. I know the traffic, I know the kids, I know the people walking, whether they've got a tube or, skimboard over their shoulder or whatever. They're not thinking about the traffic, and to add more confusion here, I just don't see it.
And tandem parking is actually, tandem parking would work.
And when I saw this.
Yeah.
I actually took the time by your scale, to see if it would work,
Mhm.
and it will work. I didn't do anything, it's not my job to figure out your plan,
Right.
but I know that the parking will work. This island, I guess it's about an 8-foot island. I think, if that was eliminated, and they had parking coming out with and striped, and the island right at the corner constructed in a way which would enhance, you've got to take a right turn, because you don't want people taking a left turn out of that driveway. But that's not my job to design it.
Right.
I can tell you, we're definitely trying to work with you. We see what your client's gone through. He's marketed the property. There's no takers on the commercial use, and he's probably abandoned that because he says he's gutted it anyway. But we're trying to make this work, but it doesn't work when you don't listen to what's said here at the hearing.
This is the case of not listening, because the first thing that Mr. Ziegler did, which was involved in a considerable expense, Dan, is to remove the shed no longer have use.
And I agree.
You should
That's-
remember.
That's a good move.
Okay.
But we still,
Remember, he
the
wasn't
bottom line is we
happy
still
with
have a small triangular lot
Right.
that has, like with a gross structure coverage of 33.9%, and the rest of it is, almost everything else is paved, if not everything else. So,
I understand what you're saying, but I have to bring up 2 points. That what was there before in terms of parking was unregulated. Most of the parking was in the street. So our main thing was to get the parking as best as possible.
Mhm.
I think if that the middle ground, to my mind at this point, is to do 3 spaces against the or 3 spaces and 1 space towards the north. 3 spaces, 3 side-by-side spaces, the 4th space to the north. With the, basically the landscaping, that island to be moved right across and connect the other island.
there's, out in front, so you're going from a mixed use to a residential use. So like I said last month, you have to play the part, you have to look residential. I don't see any plans here to enhance the front of the building, or from what I see here, unless you can tell me different, it's gonna all remain paved.
There's landscaping on, landscaping on the
On the right side of the
front of that, yeah, to the front of that building. Now, there's landscaping in the island, the plants that are gonna be used for that are on the landscaping and describe what's going in there.
I read all that.
Yeah, I read that.
Also, so
But on your landscaping plan, I don't believe there's, maybe I'm wrong, let me double check. No, there's no, to the left of the porch, it shows no change.
No change.
that was where Easter,
I know, but that was.
You submitted something different, with different parking with landscaping, and left that the way it is. I mean, there's something lost in translation between everybody here.
Right.
And I don't think it's us, because I think we've been quite clear on what our concerns are.
We need this, if it's gonna be residential, we need it to look residential. So in order to look residential, we're not telling you what to do, but having, if that's the front entrance to the building, to the home.
And the neighborhood.
And the neighborhood, because it's like a gateway into the neighborhood of Cornfield, having it paved. Whether it's, even if you have lawn there, if you wanna park a car there, you can park the car on the lawn, just like all the neighbors do when they run out of space. But it looks residential as opposed to a building, because we're now going to a residential from a,
Let me just add a little bit to that. This property is a little bit different because it's so close to the corner.
exactly.
You know, people coming down Maple Avenue, you're traveling at a faster rate of speed, they're gonna come across the intersection, they're gonna go, sure, the speed is gonna dissipate it the further they go. But you've got a lot in a small area with not really good sightlines.
And as far as the facing of the curb, because that's a state road, I think we're going to need to have DOT get involved
That
with
was
this
another question I was gonna ask, if you've been in touch with DOT.
to make sure they don't have a problem. Okay, and then based on that, do we need to get the town engineer involved? Because I talked with land use, Chris Costa, and she said we could get, if we thought necessary, we could have an engineer review the whole process, yeah. But we didn't know exactly what the final thing was, because we're gonna have to pay for that. We pay for that, not you. So I didn't want to initiate that until I knew what we were finally proposing, to get a town engineer to come in and just look this whole thing over, to see if they had any issues.
We've come a long way, there's no
Yeah.
doubt. You know, especially with removing that part of the building,
It was huge. Okay, that was big.
so we're pretty close to cosmetics, but I think that beyond that, I think you need to check with DOT. They're not gonna respond to you
In a timely
in
manner.
a timely manner. I wouldn't expect that.
One of the things which, just about the landscaping. If we can provide a plan where the parking gets approved without using, as Chief Spira had suggested, the area to, as you're facing the building to the left, certainly we can landscape that area.
But we have no plan in front of us to
Yeah.
that effect.
I'm at a point where I am trying to just give you what could be changes to this plan to meet what I believe are your concerns. And part of that is if that area is not used to the left of the stairway for parking, it could be landscaped.
Right.
Okay,
And if you want to put a car on it, it's residential. So people put them on their lawns. We're just saying that it needs to look residential.
we will not put a curb, and we can do it without
I think on 154, you're probably gonna want a curb, and you're gonna
Yeah.
need a curb to state in local specs.
that,
There,
that is.
But I don't think it's needed where we're talking about in front of the building.
Right.
Because on 150 Ford, it's fairly simple that we can basically on our own property make that inaccessible.
Find it accessible, because putting something else in there, these concrete barriers that are designed for a different purpose.
Right.
That can be removed after the first snowfall, doesn't get me excited. It's gotta be something permanent.
Yes. And that,
I see, I just.
all I'm saying, it can be done on the applicant's property.
On the
Can be
what?
done on the applicant's property without being into the right of way. Same thing as this parking space in front. That won't be needed if a plan where you have 3 in a row, you know, that they're coming in, and then one to the north of it. If that's what you're suggesting, that can be done.
I mean, I have a worksheet, because I didn't want to. I figured the tandem would work, but I wanted to measure it by your scale, and it definitely works.
When you speak of it, is that with 3 spaces
3 spaces across the front, and
across
the
the
middle one is double deep.
double deep?
And then, you know, around it, the whole area could be landscaped, so it looks residential, so
Yeah.
it doesn't detract from others' values. It's a step positive as far as the way it looks, and it's a step positive as far as safety.
Okay.
My concern is if this entrance isn't really done professionally and permanently, that over time it goes away, and, you know, like we had your first suggestion is a box of rocks scattered along there. We know that's not gonna last, and then all of a sudden you got people, you know, going through there and zipping out on the other street, or who knows what could happen. And it's not a commercial area, it's not Boston Post Road, but you do have a lot of kids there in the summertime.
Okay. So
Nobody wants to see anything happen to them, and we know it's been a problem. So we need to take this is the opportunity to do the right thing.
Okay,
Do we first need to get something from Chief Spira
One second.
to say
Who are you
he's
gonna-
okay with that?
Chuck, you
Tandem.
comment?
Yeah, just, I have not spoken to what I think is the main question here.
Right.
I have serious reservations about converting this into a duplex. You know, we don't allow duplexes in Old Saybrook, and this is gonna end up as a duplex. And I don't think there has been any case made that I've heard that it is a hardship if you can't have a duplex. This could easily be a single family residence, and probably a very nice one.
Because we're going
It's a-
from one, we have a business which is a non-conformity, okay? But then we have a reduction in non-conformity by the removal of the shed. But now we've got a new non-conformity because now we have a two-family, which, so we're going from one non-conformity to another non-conformity with, on a small property, it is a non-conformity because if this house was, I think, built prior to 1944, okay, then there's some leeway there. But post that, it needs to be on 20,000, you know, I don't need to tell you,
I understand.
you know the whole story. I can go to Reg 53 and recite it. But, I mean, ideally, if this was a single-family home, that would resolve all the issues. But I'm not telling you what to do, okay? So, and I'm not telling you we're not telling you how to do your driveway. We just need you to understand that you have 4 spots that's required. Now, in the summer,
If you're having two
Right,
residences.
right, in the summer, when people have more people overload their homes, they have property, they call their lawn, where they put their cars onto, because you can't park them in the street. You unfortunately don't have the luxury, because you don't have the coverage, because you're on a corner lot. It's extremely small, okay, and you're on one road is a state road, the other one is a town road, one has extremely busy activity, one has minor activity. There are a lot of,
To Chubb's point.
yeah,
Could I address that?
Sure, go ahead.
Just, the basis of this application is not based on hardship, but on a reduction of nonconformities.
Right,
And the regulations,
I understand that.
you know,
the regulations very clearly say that a residential, use is, less non-conforming than a commercial use.
I understand all that. But a reduction in nonconformity still gives the zoning board of appeals discretion.
Well, I'm not disputing that at
And
all.
I'm just alerting you that there has been no convincing case made to me that there is anything about this project as proposed that would lead me to exercise my discretion, I can't speak for anyone else, in favor of making a duplex out of what is otherwise a completely not duplex town. That's the way I kind of look at it.
There are two-family residences in this town.
Oh, sure, in fact, we've had
They're
zoning change,
pre-existing.
we've had zoning changes, and we have multifamily
right,
housing in town. But
absolutely.
this is a neighborhood of single-family homes.
Right.
Everybody else there is a single-family home, and this is an opportunity to make this a single-family home.
Right.
And one of the overarching principles of the zoning code is if you have a nonconformity, the zoning board of appeals should try to move it towards a conforming property. And we have a golden opportunity to do that here.
I think what you're doing also, if you deny the application for that reason, then you are essentially forcing the applicant to retain his store.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
No.
Economic conditions might make that impossible for him to do. So that the only feasible economic use would be as a single-family residence, which is what we're supposed to be
I
doing.
think,
So-
well,
But
you know,
we're not telling him, if he wants to keep this as a store, he's grandfathered into that.
That's not,
Yeah.
if he's gutted the store.
Yeah.
He's essentially started the process of abandoning the use.
Right, but
that,
You know, I mean, let's all that aside.
I would appreciate
That's
if
why
you would
that's
not
why here
state that as a
for the
fact.
third month. with this is, you're here for the third month, and I appreciate that he's trying to mitigate his damages by marketing the property. And I understand that the second apartment would be less expensive than a commercial use.
Right.
But you're changing the use of that space, that's why you're here.
I'm prepared at this point to ask for a continuance, I'm gonna use some more of that time for the purpose of providing a plan. I'll tell you what that plan would be. From taking what I'm hearing is the plan would be to have the 4 spaces, 3 off the road facing to the north. 1, the 4th space to the north of the one in the middle, closing off completely the access to 154. If DOT has no issue with extending the island.
I wouldn't think they would have an issue either, but you don't know.
If they have no objection, we would do that.
But you're also, just,
if
you
we
know,
can.
DOT is gonna look around the corner and see the access back onto 154. So that's why you're opening and.
We close it on
needs to
our
be
property.
addressed.
We can close it on our property.
Right,
So I think it would look better.
but you're not gonna be ready with this in a month.
You're not.
Well,
And you're not gonna be ready in a month. It's just, so there's options that you have available to yourself. You're not gonna be ready in a month. So because
we had a plan with the 3 spaces. And actually it was 2 and 2 rather than 3 and 1. Besides putting that on the plan, besides showing the landscaping to close off clearly the area to 156, the landscape with grass, the area to the left of the entry, to do whatever we can to make it look more residential. And I don't know whether a window box or what have you, but make it look more residential. We can do that within 30 days.
There's no way you're gonna get this thing signed off by the state in 30 days. I just don't see it happening.
But as I said, if they don't, and we can't get it, we will close off on our own property. Close it off. That can be done.
Does it make a difference about the letter?
I
that
think
we
the
have?
problem we're running into too is there may be some issues, okay, within the board themselves, okay? After doing all this, okay, going through this exercise, we may still have a problem with a multi-family property in this location. I just need you to understand that, okay? There could still be a possible problem there because of the fact that
Yeah, we're offering suggestions. We're not offering guarantees because there's 5 votes.
so there's 5 votes.
No, I
So
understand
I
that.
just, so I don't want to mislead you, okay? To that could still be a problem because we're going from one nonconformity, which is having that as a business, to another nonconformity, which is a 2-family home, okay? We're on a basically, and we appreciate the drawings, which you've done a very nice job on. Obviously, you see our building envelope is extremely small, okay? So you did remove the shed because, which gave you more opportunity with the parking. But it needs to look, really looks very residential, and there are no 2-family homes in this area. So I just want you to understand that there could still be an issue with the fact that it is a 2-family property.
Well, if that is an issue,
I just want you to, because we're not voting on it, we're just
No,
discussing it.
I know, and I heard you very clearly when you said we're not telling you what to do.
No.
These are just suggestions. There was the indication
Yeah.
that what we were trying to do was something good,
Right.
making the situation better, but it's, I'm getting a little more of a different message, particularly from Board Member Wilcox, who has said, I don't think it should be a two-family residence. Even though that's less non-conforming, his opinion is, if I have it correctly, is that you don't think that a two-family house is a sufficient reduction in non-conformity.
Hear me, I am not prejudging,
No,
but I am saying, I don't think the case has been made that at this point that convinces me. And so I don't want you to be under a misimpression.
Right.
As to my state of mind and the way I'm looking at this.
What would convince you?
I don't know. That's up to the
That's-
applicant to.
There's also the letter from the Cornfield Port Association on behalf of the Association of Board of Governors, that it's come to our attention that the owners of 3 Town Beach applied for a variance to permit 2 dwelling apartments where only 1 dwelling is allowed per lot. And our main concerns, until recently, the site has been housed for a store. Allowing 2 dwelling apartments on 1 lot may set a precedent that would be difficult to deny other locations within Cornfield Point and other beach communities. Limited parking. It goes on to talk about, there's gonna be taxes for the 2 different dwellings. So overall, the neighborhood is expressing concern about it as well.
the only thing
I did respond to that letter.
I didn't, they gave us a copy, but the good thing is, coming in front of the zoning board of appeals, there is no precedent. Every decision rests on the information at that time, so we are not setting a precedent, but I just wanted you to understand that. Because it will carry on its own merit based on everything we've discussed, but I think there's some more work that needs to be done here to move this forward. And I don't think you have the time to do it within the next 30 days. I really don't. But I don't see how you can possibly correct or get information from the state, the town, get everything documented, dot the i's, cross the t's, in time for our next meeting, which we would then have to make a decision. And so I'm just wondering what your thoughts are.
Well, my thoughts are, it would be very easy for us to say, yes, we'll withdraw this application. But I don't think, number one, we're going to get the approval of Chief Spira.
Right.
Number two, I don't know what information I could provide which would convince one board member anyways, that a 2-family.
Right. Keep in mind,
house is less.
the one advantage of the ZBA is we have 5 votes. You carry it 4, you lose it 3, okay, as you well
No,
know.
I'm aware.
I just wanted, I give you the opportunity because it should we vote this evening. And it should it get voted down, you have to wait 6 months. So
Unless you come back with a different plan.
unless you come back with a different plan.
Significantly different.
Right, so, or,
Okay, I hear you, and I hear those who have spoken, and I've heard also the letter which was brought to the board's attention from the association. That, by the way, that letter, that email was December 9th, and I did provide the board.
but we have, we did see that, we all have a copy.
We sent to the Comfort Beach Association a set of the plans.
Right,
And showed them and answered some of the questions that they had left open. I understand that.
I mean, if you look at the minutes of on several meetings, you'll find that very often I'm in the minority.
Right. So, but we don't want.
I don't want to count on that.
But there's some, but yes, what would you, whatever,
Mr. Ziegler.
yes.
So a couple things, that I'm listening here. First of all, in Cornfield Point, you say there's only single families. That's not true. Okay, there's quite a few houses and more houses now having accessory apartments and having more than one. So this is not something new that there's multiple dwellings. I owned 2 properties in Cornfield Point that had accessory apartments on them. Okay, so this is not, excuse my voice, I've been sick, but, so, and there's more as I see people adding on these sheds that are not sheds, okay? They're accessory apartments. So, and if you look around Cornfield Point, okay, that's, I'm not looking to throw anybody under the bus, but as you said that I abandoned the store, I didn't abandon the store. I never abandoned the store. I didn't gut the store. We took everything out to remodel the store. And what happens is most everything when you open a store comes from suppliers. So they just load the store back up again. Okay, and I do have somebody who wants to rent and open a store again. But I really don't want that, I don't really want it in Cornfield Point, and I don't think a lot of people want it in Cornfield Point because they give me nothing but a hard time when I had the store. The people in Cornfield Point and everything didn't come in and support the store. That's all they did was complain about everything, made it hard to make a living in that store. But I do have somebody, if I wanted to rent it to them, I don't really want to go that route. But I heard you say something about doing a single family. Okay, so a single family, what does that do for, how easy is it just converting it to a single family?
I would guess because you're changing your use, you have to come back to us.
But I think it would be,
You're still gonna have the same landscaping
Yeah.
issues.
but you're not gonna have as many, it's a
Well,
parking,
with a single, if
you're not gonna have the parking issue.
You really don't have a parking issue if you thought it out.
right,
Granted, it would have been tough if you didn't take out the ice cream shop. But like I told them, I want to speak intelligently about it. I took the time to take your plan by scale and draw it out. And like I said, 3 across the front and the center one double deep. Not a problem, but that needs, in thinking about what the state is gonna say, or a local authority, they're not gonna want you to take a left turn out of there. Because yourself, if you only have, even if you only have one car at the stacking at the stop sign, leaving Town Beach, there's nowhere to go, so you're gonna be pulling halfway out, so they
I
have. to
realize that, but you're talking about a few cars when the store was doing well. How many cars were just like everywhere?
I know, I
So-
lived in Cornfield Point.
So
for 10
this
years,
is
so I'm
much,
aware of it.
this is much better. But see, I'm just trying to listen to you guys, because you two have the most input on this situation. And I just want to get this done. I don't want to keep losing money month after month after month. I just want to get it done, make a nice thing, whatever I gotta do, whatever landscaping I did. Took your advice, which is taking that, a building down. And I agree with you now by looking at it. I think it's gonna make it a lot of, better appearance. And I will do all the landscaping and make it look pretty, I was
Only
thinking
enhances the property,
myself.
which makes it worth more money.
Yeah, I was thinking myself, on the left side of the entrance was extending that deck over to there and giving the people.
You're not even close to extending a deck on the front of that
you
building.
can't put it
inside.
because you
You're
got,
2.5 feet from the property line and you're on the street. So
Yeah, the
there's no
problem
way
is-
you're doing that.
your
No,
setbacks.
I'm just talking about this as wide as the stairs.
As wide as what's there?
Yeah, the stairs, just taking it from the stair.
You don't have-
Downstairs.
You don't have it.
You don't have the coverage.
You don't have
Yeah.
the space.
If you look at your
Unfortunately.
your buildable area,
Mhm.
So you look at your first page one.
yeah,
You see the little triangle? in the
that's
middle?
all you can
That's
build
what
it,
You know,
You
you
can't
can't
add
build
anything.
anything, put a couple phone booths in there.
right? You
Unless you
can
get a
detract from
variance.
it, but you can't add to it.
Unless you get a variance.
Unless you get a variance, so.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm just looking to do,
A single family home, okay, solves a lot of issues, checks a lot of boxes. That's just FYI, I don't know how it's done, I'm just saying, becomes a single family home. Then you only need 2 parking spaces, and it's a matter how you configure it, I don't know,
well,
okay?
it's easier to make a single family out of it.
Well, I see, I don't know what's involved, I'm just saying, we're now,
Mr. Chairman, with all due respect,
yes, a single family home
it was
versus,
you that at the last meeting said, if you tore down that shed and removed that shed, that would be, take things a long way.
and I said that, and as far as I was concerned, it does, okay? So,
Don't
but
change your mind.
I haven't changed my mind,
But
I'm
that's,
just
but don't
saying,
forget, he's one vote, as you know.
I'm
We're not
one
telling
vote.
you- We're trying to seriously, but you know,
You can have,
you've been a zoning
each-
attorney for a long time.
you can have 3 people voting, or all you need actually is 2 voting for 2 different reasons. You don't have to have the same reason.
right,
Yeah.
so,
So that, remember, it's not so simple for me to just take your advice, go out and
we're just,
reapply.
we've seen it, we've made some improvements. It's, you need to carry by 4 votes, obviously, as you're well aware. And being a 2-family is a challenge, 2-family home property versus a single-family home. It solves parking issues, it gives you more space for other vehicles for that home. It gives you more area. I'm not telling you what to do, I'm just saying, propose what you want to propose.
But you know, if you have to come back here for a single family, you can't imagine that a lot of these things would change. You know, I think your passes are, I don't know what to tell you. You know, but this is, you've been a zoning attorney for a long time. A lot of times you'll walk in front of the ZBA, they offer no assistance whatsoever, it's up or down. You know, we, 3 months, we're trying to do suggestions, and like I say, you spoon feed it to us, and you, like Chubb said last month, you cheapen out on things, and it makes it doesn't look genuine, you know?
Be perfectly, I was surprised that you took after our discussion from the last meeting, it was emphatic that we weren't doing anything with the ice cream shop. Then the next thing I know, it was gone. So I said, so we're not telling you what to do.
Mr. Ziegler is trying.
And we appreciate his effort, okay? So so you've come up with something that you present that we can review.
Well, I'm trying to take into what you guys will approve. And I went back and looked, and believe me, I got prices because the electrical's underground, it's gonna cost a lot of money. Because it's all gotta be rerun from the pole. The meters are like 1 to 2 years on back order. So I have to find a way to get those somehow, which sure I can, but there's a lot of abandoned buildings right now because they can't get the meters
Well,
and they can't get the power. So it's gonna cost a lot of money. I know I said 10 to 15,000, it's doubled.
Well, how do we move forward with this?
well, they have the opportunity, we can either vote on it this evening. They can, I don't see the point of of continuing it for another month, because I know it's not gonna be ready, so we can either vote on it. Or they can withdraw.
So what do you think?
And by withdrawing, they can come back. Okay, if we deny it, then they have to show, when they want to come back in less than 6 months, they have to have substantial change to the property. define that, so, yeah, Attorney Boyce, he's familiar with all this, he knows that.
The withdrawal will require that we pay another application fee for one. And even if we file again, and let's say that's 2 months, rather than coming back
Yeah.
1 month, that gives us 2 months. But we still have the dilemma is if we're going in the right direction without simply making it a one family building.
Right.
Because that won't require a variance.
Absolutely,
That's
Oh, I'm not sure.
but hang on, no, we're changing it
You're
from,
changing a use
I have to find out,
you're changing it to a conforming use.
on a non-conforming
Family.
lot.
non-conforming. I'd have to,
Why?
On a non-conforming lot.
on a non-conforming, but I would have to.
There
confirm
are-
that with
But you're
the-
not
How many-
changing the footprint.
How many lots are, how many lots are conforming
Very in that area, not a
in
lot.
that area?
But I mean, that's something you'd have to take up
We don't-
with Chris.
You have to
Yeah.
take that with Chris Costa, Attorney Costa, not Chris Costa.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that, but I'm just,
I don't have the answer for that, I would have to find that based on, so, but,
if he wanted to have an increased deck for his one family house, he would need a.
Right.
Correct. I think they have given us
You guys, if you
sufficient.
need a minute to talk, that's fine, privately.
yeah, if you wanna talk privately, we'll go to the next application, come back.
And I can give you a high sign.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, we have no problem with that,
Okay, thank
High
you.
side being,
come back in after the next application,
well, I think we need to get that on the record,
Yeah.
not just a high side.
yeah, so what we'll do
I
is,
can give it to you in writing.
yeah,
We do need them to come back and some needs to vote.
yeah, so we're gonna need to come back until we can discuss, until we can vote, that a motion to get ready to go.
We need some better.
Yes, exactly. Now on to the public hearing, 24/25-15, Robin Staples, request a variance of part 10.7.1/10.7.2, non-conforming larger/change, part 24.5.1, street line setbacks 25 required, 5 foot proposed, and part 24.5.3, other yard setbacks 15 feet required, 10.5 proposed, the zoning regulations to permit the construction of a 227 square foot deck at 20 Hill Street, map 22, lot 97, residence 8, district coastal area management zone. Action open by 2/11/2025. Who will be representing the applicant?
Robin Staples.
Okay.
So what I do want to do is add a deck to the front of this house, and I have to meet FEMA regulations. And in order to do that, I have to raise the house. And by raising the house, the stairs will come out to almost to the street. And the house did have a porch on it beforehand, which has been taken off.
That's the question you have to ask ourselves. From the elevation it is right now, how much higher does it have to go?
42 inches.
Is it 40? So the house has to physically be elevated 42 inches.
42 inches, so it's a
Are you
13.
telling me the house from where it currently stands has to go up 42 more inches?
Yes. Yes. Yep. Yes.
Not a problem. Yeah, I'm assuming that you triggered the 50% rule. So that now you have to become FEMA compliant.
Yes.
It's correct that it's, I did visit the site. but
Yes.
Is this correct, where it's saying 6 inches, a half a foot off the property line?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
Where basically the street.
to see, do you have a drawing for the FEMA required elevation so we can physically see that measurement? 'Cause I don't see it anywhere. I don't see any documentation, because that was one thing I had looked at.
I don't think I do have any documentation.
So that's key, okay? 'cause
Okay,
I need to know if it's, if it's 41 inches off the ground where your house already is,
no, it's 40 inch, 40.
because there's nothing stating that.
Okay, I understand that, Chuck, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. So I'll come better prepared. with the-
Yeah, unfortunately.
No, that's okay,
And
and what else? Will I
one other
need
thing.
anything? Yep,
the problem, just because you're gonna come back anyways.
yes, please,
Okay. Uh, the- There's no hardship for what you're asking for.
well, they're
And-
kind of,
No, listen to me. There's no hardship. There is no hardship. And
okay,
there is no reduction in nonconformity. However, you do have a lot of land in the back of this property where you could put an amazing deck. Now, what you could do on the front of this property is anything that's less than 6 inches off the ground does not count as coverage. Did anybody tell you that?
yes,
So you could, if you wanted to have a patio,
right,
you could have one right there, and it won't involve anything. Now, I can't tell you where you can and can't build in the back, because we don't see the septic system.
okay, so my other point is that there was a porch on the front of the house.
Well,
That, and the deck is only gonna run the front where the porch
so
was.
we would need a drawing showing an A2 drawing,
An A2
showing
drawing, okay,
what was originally there.
okay, so a picture doesn't.
No. See, we need an
Okay.
A2 drawing that shows what was originally there, because we
Okay.
don't know what was originally there. So from us, it just looks like they're telling you have to elevate. So
Yes.
you're allowed to elevate the whole structure.
Right,
So whatever was there, okay? We
okay,
can't add to it, but we can't take away, okay?
okay,
Now, if the height becomes an issue and we need to have stairs encroaching into the setback, we can do that because you've chose to elevate the house. You didn't tear it down.
right,
So, so we can provide access to the front based on that, but
Okay.
we need traditionally, when you do something like this, there's a drawing of what was there
okay,
and what you're proposed to build.
okay,
And because you were just basically repairing the house.
right,
You never would have come in front of us.
No.
The only reason you're coming in front of us, to be honest with you, the only reason you come in front of us is the deck.
yes.
Otherwise,
I mean, it was a hoarder's house, it's a huge
oh,
improvement.
no, we understand that, but that has nothing to do with
Right,
us.
I understand that,
So we're just saying that the only reason that she's coming in front of us is because she wants to add these decks. Okay, otherwise, she triggered FEMA, elevate the house, good to go.
yes,
I just
Okay.
wanted to clarify for the rest of the board, 'cause I spoke to Chris Costa about it.
okay, so when I come back, I need,
If you think that you had a porch space in the front of that,
yes,
we need an A2 drawing stating as such.
okay, I can get that,
Yeah, so we have that,
okay, I need to draw on.
yeah.
Okay.
And should you just recognize that you could put, if you choose to
Right.
put a patio that's
Yes,
less than 6 inches, again, you don't have to come in front of us.
okay, and that can go right out to the road,
You could, as far as they're concerned, you could, I believe you can pave your entire property, okay?
with a patio?
Your property,
Your property.
not the right away of the road.
No, okay, no, I'm just curious, I'm just asking.
Right,
That's,
I mean,
yes,
because it doesn't count as structure,
okay,
so you can have a patio, okay?
okay,
Like it just isn't, anything that you build over 6 inches is structure,
okay,
so that's my take on it. Kevin.
One other thing, if you go to town hall from here,
yes,
they have some files. Some of them don't have a lot in them, if they're real old houses, but it's worth asking to look at the old file and see if there's anything in there that may help you too.
because this house was built in 1930, so am do I have any?
Yeah, we understand there's a lot of
any-
Sometimes you have nothing, and sometimes
Right.
you've got
Yeah.
more than you expected,
Yeah.
so it's worth a shot.
And I commend you, on the house looks beautiful.
It is a great improvement.
Right.
It definitely,
And one other thing, I
Sure.
just wanted to run this, always
Yeah.
a suggestion.
I'll listen.
I've had to do this in the past.
Yeah.
When you raise, it's not that expensive to raise the whole house and move it on the lot. We got a big building envelope here.
Yes, once you're physically elevating this house
Really?
for FEMA,
That never did occur to me.
yeah, if you're elevating this, you have to do everything, you can elevate it and push it back. I mean, obviously,
You're gonna be putting it on pilings, not on a cement foundation, you know, cement block foundation.
whatever they're doing, so you can have, because you can't have any mechanicals in the I don't know if you have a basement.
No, I took all the mechanicals out. I've already moved the.
I'm just saying, they'll
Yes,
be, so,
yes.
so everything has to be elevated, okay?
Okay,
And if you need to hang anything, any appendages off the side of the house, that's okay too, because they
Okay,
understand that, even if it goes into a setback.
okay,
But you have the opportunity, because you're elevating,
okay.
you could push the whole house back.
And then could I have a deck?
Sure, if you push it back far enough.
You gotta play big.
Look at your
building envelope.
You also got
Okay, yeah.
sideline to think about, too, sideline setback. You gotta
Okay.
think about
But
that.
if you see the CBL,
Yeah,
this is your buildable area.
right, okay.
So if this whole thing went up and went back into it, you could basically, wouldn't even come in front of us.
Oh, excellent.
I mean, you guys are all very nice, but.
Yes, that might be easier.
So. We can, do we make a motion to continue, or we
You
haven't?
gotta request it.
Yeah.
and
Could I
then
get a
you can vote
motion
on
to
it.
continue, please?
No, request to continue.
Oh, could I
Request to-
request?
Yes.
I would request.
She has to write a letter.
No, she doesn't, because we're well within the timeline. This doesn't have to open until 2/11. When is that next meeting? Give me one the next one.
It's right, I think that's.
It was a
February,
February
Yeah, it's
12th.
one day.
If you just find out that you decide to lift
Scoot
it,
it.
move it back, please withdraw, so we're not
Okay.
planning on you.
Okay,
so
definitely.
she's gonna, so we have to open we haven't I did open it, so, okay, so it's physically opened. And if we go to the next meeting, that's 30 days,
It's one day after.
one day
right?
after, you're gonna have to ask for,
Is that one day after? Because I
Yeah,
did the
'cause
12th, so that would be.
the
day
12th is
before.
our next meeting.
So you would need to request, using one of your days, the 65 days, just
Okay,
in writing.
okay, excellent. And give that to the,
You can do it right now on a piece of paper.
Just write a piece of paper and
Okay.
and just.
Yeah, you do need it now.
Yeah,
Okay.
it would be nice if
So-
we had it now.
request for February 12th.
So you need to request to use one of your 65 days
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Okay,
for the continuance.
For a continuance,
okay.
You're granting the board.
right, otherwise, because we miss it by one day, okay?
Okay,
So if you do that, so I'm gonna make would you like to make a motion?
Go ahead, make it.
I'll make a motion to continue 24/25-15 Robin Staples, 20 Hill Street to our next meeting. And she will request the use of one day of her 65 days. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Robin.
you, thank you guys very much.
Now. Prior to, here's,
He's gonna do the public hearing so we can vote on this.
Once you go up front and
yeah, you go up in front, then we'll finish that one off. Okay, Attorney Roysted is back up in front of us for 24/25-12 Hartford.
13-12.
24/15-12, apologize.
The applicant is withdrawing this application. I provided the clerk with a written statement from the applicant that his company is withdrawing. the
Okay,
application.
I guess you should make a motion at this point. Kevin, would you like to make a motion? I don't move it. So move.
It's, do you need a motion?
Well,
for
just-
withdrawal?
He's withdrawing it, so
I don't think you need a motion.
Okay.
Nothing.
just wanted to make sure I covered myself.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Application 24/25-16C. Seated for this will be Kevin Danby, Chubb Wilcox, Marty Ladd, Aaron Caldwell, and Lori Deneen. I'm recusing myself. Now, the reason that I'm recusing myself is not because I can't be impartial and not because I'm friendly with the applicants, but my wife was involved with the buyers on their previous home that they sold, and I don't want to look of any impropriety in regards to this, so I'm sitting this out.
So Lori is seated.
Lori is seated for myself. I wanted to explain it, okay? Kevin is now ready.
Representing the applicant. Casella,
Yes,
the floor is yours, sir.
all right, very good. Good evening, everybody. Ed Casella, representing Gino and Karen Giminoni, who are seeking to complete an addition to their home at 19 Seacrest. The property is located in Norwood, on the west side of Seacrest. I'll share my screen and go through a few drawings and documentation that we have. Yeah, so here's Seacrest Road, which is on the right side of the plan. 5-foot setback, and then there's an existing house here. The house is non-conforming with respect to the north side yard setback at 12, just over 12 feet, and is non-conforming with respect to coverage, 22.8%, where 20% is allowed. Photo of the property gives you kind of a good idea of what we're talking about here. So there's a garage and a large driveway on the right side. That the wall of the house is what goes to 12 feet off the boundary line. Those eaves that are up top actually go to over just about 9.7 feet off the boundary line, so they further encroach into the setback. It's a split level, so there's the garage level on the right side, the partial finished basement, and then living area up top. And then on the left side is a single story. So the Giminonis are here tonight, as well as Becky Yako, who is the architect who designed the house. So if there's questions about the proposed house design, she's available to answer if I can't. So what they're proposing to do is basically create an addition of the house over on the left side and create second floor living space on the left side. And in doing that, they're proposing to reconstruct and make better, in my opinion, the entire roof structure. So there'll be gables, and it'll be more consistent with the neighborhood. So here's what the new house looks like from kind of the same vantage point that we were talking about. So here's the garage structure with the lower level. Up here is the second floor, so to speak, living space that will remain, but instead of having the sloped roof like we had before, there's a double gable. And then on the left side, proposing a second floor expansion, and then another single car garage on the far, what's the south side of the property. So 857 square foot total addition. So the variances we're requesting, number one, because this roof reconfiguration is within the setback, we're requesting variance of 12 feet, 12.6 off the property line. And in exchange for that, what we're doing is eliminating those large 3-foot gables. So where the structure goes to just over 9 feet toward the property line now, it will be tucked back with standard gables here that you can see. So the 12.6 will have a second floor just like it does now, just with different roof peak. I'll note the height, the total height from the lowest point, which is in front of the garage, is 29. So which isn't even considering the average elevation, because there's the slope up where the retaining wall is. So the total height to the top of that peak is 29. That's well within the 35 foot. And then the majority of the second floor addition is located, as I said, on the left side, and that all complies with the regulations. Okay? The third request essentially is to construct a second single car garage on the south side of the property, 12-foot 10-inch by 24, very narrow, small single car garage. And that requires a variance because it's too close to the side yard of 13 feet 2 inches on the south side. One of the benefits of reconfiguring the eaves is there is a reduction in coverage. Right now, 22.8% with the new configuration, even with the construction of the garage, it's being reduced to 22.4%. So there is a couple of reductions in nonconformity. First, the eaves that encroach toward the north boundary line, and second, an overall decrease in coverage. We received CRAD approval. There's also a CAM application. Although this property is in the CAM zone, it's not in the flood zone. DEP did write a referral. You have it in your file, the DEP referral? Yeah, and basically they said, you know, there's no adverse impacts on the coastal resources from this development. The project will remain in compliance with both coverage, with gross floor area at 39.2, and coverage will be reduced. So the reasons that we believe the variance can be granted by the board is, again, as I've been talking about, there are the reductions of nonconformity. The existing roof overhang, the existing north portion of the house is non-compliant with the setback, 12.6, and the roof goes to 9.6 and is non-compliant. So we're eliminating 3-foot overhang, making it more compliant. It's also, we believe, a major aesthetic improvement for the house, much more compliant with many of the other homes in the area. The second floor on the right side, the north side, is already there. It's just a roof reconfiguration to add to the look of the house. Then with respect to the garage on the south side. So the garage on the south side is an interesting situation because from a regulatory perspective with respect to the side yards, they've decided to attach the garage to the house. And the size of the garage is about 310 square feet. So if it were a detached garage, it actually qualifies as a minor accessory structure. And the setback for minor accessory structure is only 10 feet. So one of the options here is to have a detached garage that's 2 to 3 feet separated from the existing house. And it would therefore then comply with the side yard setback. So we have that option. Don't think it's a good option. But before you today, asking for variance to be able to have it attached. And if you look at the house, you can see the garage adds an aesthetic element to it. So, we do believe there's the basis of reduction in nonconformities, but there's also this regulatory that if this garage was detached, could even be, a minor detachment, right? Then it would be compliant with the side yard setback. We'd still have the reduction in coverage. We'd still have the, on the north side where the roof line is being reconfigured, we have a reduction in nonconformity there. So we'd still have basis for approval, but essentially they're asking for the garage in this location just because it makes sense and makes the house look better versus having it detached 6 inches, a foot, 2 feet, 3 feet. There's a little bit of wiggle room, but none of that really makes sense. So that's essentially the sum and substance of the application.
The distance between the property line and the new garage is what? Because I don't see it noted on the plan.
13 feet 2 inches.
Okay, now I see it.
A1.
Got it.
Yeah, she pulled the line all the way. You can see it there.
Mhm.
So it's a 1 foot 10-inch variance request.
And other than the garage, it's primarily on the existing footprint.
Yeah, it's on the existing footprint. On the north side, there's roof reconfiguration in the middle, which is all in a conforming location. That's where they're adding the second story, staying within the gross floor area.
So that's the only questions I had. It's pretty much self-explanatory. Anybody else from the board?
No questions.
With that, I'll open up to the public for public comment. Anybody want to speak in favor or against this application?
I'm against it. I live at 21 Seacrest Road, which is the north side. And currently the house, there's several things that I'm going to state right now.
Can you state your name, please?
Yes, my name is Luann.
Luann, could you please come up? It's
Oh,
speak
can I?
in front.
can I-
Sure.
Yes, it'd be much easier to hear.
Chair right here.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
thank you.
There.
I want to sit so I
Lots
can.
of issues.
so I can
Could
see.
you just spell your name?
LOU.
Yep.
Space ANN NAPLES.
Thank you.
So currently the house is 1,304 square feet. And it looks as though they're proposing a 3,500 square foot house, if I read it correctly. It's a little misleading. They're also saying that's a 3-bedroom house, but yet if you read the other part of the paper, it says it's a 4-bedroom house. And if you look at the floor plans on the top floor, it's actually a 4-bedroom house, possibly a 5-bedroom house. And the house is gonna be 30 feet high, which is quite high compared to the other
They're
houses in the area.
you're allowed to be 30 up to 35 feet.
Right, but it's really overbearing to my house. I feel it impacts my view, my privacy. And, they're saying that the architecture fits into the decor of the neighborhood. It does not fit into the decor of the neighborhood. Architecturally, it's completely different. We have more of a traditional, neighborhood. The houses, I've lived there for 30 years. And, everybody that has added or changed their house has kept the character of our street, and we like it there. I have many neighbors that are still on the line, but they're gonna speak as well. I feel like the proposed house is too large for the lot. And the other houses in the area are only like 1,500 to 1,600 square feet. So this house is significantly bigger than the other houses that are there.
But it's on the same footprint. And the height is within the regulations. The only place you're going outside of the footprint is on the opposite side from where you are.
Right, and that homeowner's here as well. To talk about that. The Seacrest Road is extremely narrow. It's one of the narrowest streets in town. And about 25 years ago, there was an emergency situation at that house. A car went through the house and it created a lot of havoc for the neighborhood as well as the safety of all the emergency vehicles and things like that. It was really a hindrance. They want to add.
Can you just back up a minute?
Yeah.
Explain to me how I'm not following you, how that house was a hindrance to emergency vehicles.
No, the accident.
The accident, what happened was all the emergency vehicles were on people's yards because they couldn't get in such a narrow street with there's trees and stuff to get anywhere. If that house ever caught on fire, what they're proposing, all those houses are gonna catch on fire. Especially on a night like tonight, it's so windy, all those houses, including my house and all my neighbors' houses. will catch on
Regardless of the
fire.
size, that with a heavy wind that would happen.
Yeah, if you went to the neighborhood, you would see what
I'm
I'm
very
saying.
familiar with Knoll.
You know, so there'll be 2 drives, they're proposing 2 driveways, a lot of driveways right in that vicinity, there's a lot of houses that are very close. It would really create, just a terrible situation for us, as it is, it's again, it's a narrow street, and somebody goes by, you have to pull over, and let another car go by.
Well, that's not true. But just so you know, by right, they could not attach that garage and have it even closer to the property line,
Right,
by right, without our approval.
right, but do you think they would really want a detached garage there? We prefer not to have that second
Well,
garage.
detached, it doesn't say how far it has to be detached.
Right,
So if it's an inch detached, it's still the same thing, or they could just move it right as far up, far south as they
Right.
like. For the regulation, what the regulation would allow, it would be a lot closer to that sideline than it is now.
Well, the house right now is too big for the lot as it is.
It's no bigger in size, floor plan, as far as the footprint, except for the garage on the opposite side of your house, which could be built an inch away, or it could be built several feet away towards the
In
property.
terms of coverage, it's permitted to be 40%, and what they're asking for is less than that.
Yeah.
I acknowledge just by a little bit, but it's less than they're allowed. So that means we're entitled to it.
You know what's scary is when you look at something that's two-dimensional, and you don't know what it's gonna look like in the street.
Oh, I know what it's gonna look like. I've seen houses, look at Park Avenue, all these other, there's another house, I think it's called Knollwood something. There, you know, the zoning commission's allowing houses to be built in a neighborhood that has a lot of character, and a lot of history. And it's actually it looks awful now. And this is gonna ruin our street.
I disagree. I'm
But
not
you don't
saying
live
it's
on
gonna
the
be,
street. You don't live on the street.
I live in Knoll. I'm very familiar with
But you don't
Knoll.
live on
I've lived there
Seacrest
for 20
Road.
years.
Right, I lived there
So-
for longer, and you don't live on Seacrest
You know, I
Road.
can't tell you whether this is gonna be approved or not, but I'm just questioning. I haven't heard anything that is persuasive.
Well, we have other,
Well, that's fine. I'd like to listen to everybody.
thank you.
Speaking and expressing your concerns.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak in favor? Or against?
I don't know.
Might as well get the other side of this.
Come up and
I'm the
state,
yellow house.
excuse me, come up,
I'm
please
coming up,
say,
sir.
and
Absolutely.
then state your name
John Fisher,
and your
I
address.
live on 15 Seacrest Road,
John or Jon?
J-O-H-N.
They sure?
And I have that yellow house right next door where you're talking about. And I'm sorry, I'm new to the process and I'm sorry I'm here, but I'm trying to understand what you're doing. So the 20% rule is how much coverage in a lot you're supposed to have.
This has 22.8.
Okay, so why is that? Oh,
When it was built, 22.8 is permissible.
Oh, I didn't know, like 20, I thought 20%, that's what I'm saying. I
Yeah,
don't know.
no, I understand. That's why
No, I'm sorry. Let me interrupt if I may. There's 20% that's permitted.
Okay,
Right now, there's
20.
22.8%
I got it.
that's covered.
Right.
And under the proposal, that would be reduced to 22.4%. So it's becoming more
I
compliant
understand that.
so far as that issue is concerned.
So it's already been approved before for that 22.8%.
No.
Well,
The
it was
original.
probably- It could have been by right. I don't know what the regulations.
Well, I'm
were
trying to
when it was
understand that. I
built.
don't understand that. That's
You
what I'm
know,
saying.
because they change the regulations, you don't have to change.
Oh, okay, so
your
it could have
house.
been built
Because
before.
They can't knock on your door and say, hey, look,
We
we
don't
changed
know.
it.
Okay, well, that's what I'm trying to understand. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. So it's there now, so it's smaller. So it's acceptable no matter what, then,
The coverage,
even though it's over the 20%.
because they're reducing it,
But it's still over the 20%.
it's still over the 20%, but it is a
acceptable
deduction.
because it's already. Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
Okay.
You know,
And are you on the side with the new garage?
yes,
So you understand if they
so yes, if they don't attach it
can come closer to your house?
and it's no zoning regulations.
Well, no, there's regulations, but yes, there's no zoning issues. They could detach it and bring it over closer to your house.
Well, I did, that's what I said, I did hear you say.
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's why I'm just saying, okay, so if they leave it attached to the house,
Kevin, explain.
they gotta have a variance.
Explain.
If they detach it by an inch from the house, they can do whatever the heck they want.
Yeah, but, and they can go further.
That's what, yes, sir.
They gotta bring it to 10 feet. of the
So it'd
property
be
line.
10 feet from the
They-
property
It
line.
could be, but it's not, it's, I think, what was it, 13.4?
13.4.
13.4, 13.2.
So then how close could they move it?
They could move it to 10 feet.
So they
from your
could move it
property
another
line.
3 feet? Okay, no, I'm
So-
sorry, yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
And I understand, you know, you can't know what you don't know, and I'm happy to answer all the questions, but people have a right to live in their house and
Oh,
change
I'm not
it.
arguing any of that. I'm just trying to
Things we
understand the
look at
process.
is hardships, we look at, lessening nonconformities, making them safer. A lot of times our occupants will see over homes that were built with staircases that are way too steep and over people, but we need to move that side of the house up. In this case, that's a little different, but we see a little bit of everything. And we try to work with everybody for and against, to try to approve things when we can, and there's times we can, and there's times that we can't. So it's not personal, but,
That's not personal, I'm just trying to understand the process.
oh, no,
That's in the
I'm glad
questions,
you're asking.
and I
the
learned
question.
a lot from the attorney before, to hear you guys and the feedback, believe me, so. You know, I want to be a quick learner, not take up your
Take up
time.
as much time
And it
as you.
sounds like they're going performance, just the 20% and 22, and, you know, how does that all work? And then, so 10 feet, and go from there, so what would be, where's the master bedroom? So our side, or is it in the middle? Over the garage. Well, no. Well, no, well, whatever.
Whatever, but if you could just
Let's-
address,
So it's, this is the master bedroom over here.
just address the board.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
Everybody-
Oh, I'm sorry. So
The
where's
attorney
their
will-
master
will
bedroom?
Answer questions.
I'm sorry, sir. Where's their master bedroom? It's in the, well, that's in my house, well, whatever, I
He's
understand.
taking notes and he's gonna.
Okay, so I thought, that was just the other question.
Okay.
You know, so thank you,
No problem.
you know, all for building and moving forward, this is long as done correctly. That's
Did you
all.
say you're all for it?
I said I'm all for building and moving correctly and doing
Okay.
things, you know, it makes it better, but as long as it's done correctly, that's all I'm saying.
I appreciate.
Thank you for your
coming in.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you very
much. Anybody else in the audience for or against?
Hi, my name is Lori McBride and my family's been,
Address,
address 25 Seacrest
Can
Road.
you also just spell your name, please?
Sure, LORIMCBRIDE.
Thank you.
So my family's been at 25 Seacrest Road for over 55 years. And basically, I'm here tonight because we don't mind the idea of renovations to 19 Seacrest, but the proposed house seems to be too big for the plot of land. That's the only problem that we're finding, we feel. Not that we're finding, we don't know any of the details,
When,
although I did find out tonight.
when we say the existing footprint, you understand what that means? That means what's existing there.
Yes,
So that's gonna be the same.
oh,
Okay,
much.
the only place where it's
It's a
moving
little bit
out
smaller.
is
Is
where the
the
new
garage.
garage is.
yeah,
And they have the option of, which is probably, somebody may say that that's being neighborly, pulling it back to the house, and yeah, maybe it's more convenient for them. But they could they could build the garage 10 feet from the property line, which would be further out. So that's the only extra on the footprint, but the
Let me-
footprint could be further away.
Let me make a correction to that if I may.
Sure.
On the, I get disoriented here, on the on the top side of our drawing, A-1.0. The existing house does encroach on the setback. And they're
Well, I'm not
adding,
talking about, I wasn't talking about encroaching in the setback. I'm talking about the existing footprint.
right, the existing footprint encroaches in this, on the setback. And
Oh, yeah.
And they're adding bulk on that side, so they would need a variance to do that.
Right, but they also can't build out.
They can easily, they have a lot of room to build out. And
build up
up and out,
and out,
because their plan is 5 feet below the town's height limit.
right, 30.
So they're adding, all of, the main bulk that they're adding is in this part of the house, as I look at it. And that they're entitled to do absolutely, without any kind of variance at all.
Yeah, we can see the water from our house, but with this house now, we're not gonna be able to see the water. So I mean, you know,
I feel.
I came here tonight, my sister called me and buckled me into this, but
Just so you know, we lost half of our views to the same thing.
same thing. And you're in Knollwood
Yeah,
Beach?
and I can't, look at it, just they had the opportunity to do that, I don't blame them, I wish I still had them, but sometimes that's the way the chips fall.
Yeah, I have to walk out to the middle of the road now to see the water, which
I hear you.
it's, what are you gonna do? You know, I wish you guys the best, so.
Some people are lucky when they have deeded rights to the view, but that's very rare, and it sounds like you don't have that.
No. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else would like to speak in favor or
There's
against?
someone online.
I'm sorry, sir. I just had one more question. that
Sure.
came up. The garage, is that flush or how far does it come out from the existing structure? Is that like 3 feet, 5 feet, 2 feet?
1 foot 11.
1 foot or less? Okay, it's hard to tell.
1 foot 11.
Okay, that's basically flush.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Someone online that would like to speak.
Okay. Whoever is online.
It comes out 1 feet, 1 foot, 11 inches.
Thank you, sir.
Pam,
Hi, yes, hello. My name's Pam McNall, and that was my sister Lori. And yes, we have been at 25 Seacrest Road for over 55 years. And as she mentioned, we love the idea of renovations. Our worry and our fret was that the size of the house would not make sense for the plot, but it sounds as if they're inside. I mean, I've been hearing what you guys have been speaking of. And so it just felt like this house could not be the same size as the home that's on it right now. But that's what you guys are saying. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's on the same footprint with the exception of the garage on the south side of the property. And that attached garage, if it was not attached to the house, could be closer to the neighbor's property line.
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
makes sense, you know, it may make sense to allow that rather than letting them build it closer to the property line, which they can do by right.
Yes, I understand. And you know that someone brought up that seeing things one-dimensionally and two-dimensionally are very misleading. And from the look of it, that on Blueprint, it just seems like it was just going to be such a monster compared to you know, the size of the plot of land there. And really, when you do read the number of bedrooms, there's with the office included and the flex room and 3 bedrooms, that could be 5 bedrooms. Is there a worry with the septic system?
Pam, do you mind just spelling your last name, please? Pam, can you spell your last name, please?
Oh, sure. McNall.
Thank you.
To answer your question, correct me if I'm wrong, but the bedroom count did not change, and the septic system is sufficient.
Okay, okay. Well, thank
Go
you.
back to your question about the size of the house. The size is increasing in terms of gross floor area from 26.5% to 39.2%. But even that number is within the permitted number of 40%.
Correct.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you for all of this information. We feel better about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak in favor or against this application?
I want to say one other thing. You're saying that there's 3 bedrooms, you're changing the number of bedrooms, but a flex room is a bedroom. And if you look at the paperwork, it says 4 bedrooms. If you choose some paperwork that I got, and it's I looked online, it said, on one of the pieces of paper, it says 4 bedrooms.
It's not easy to stand up there.
Office, you have a flex room.
Right, but on their papers, it says 4 bedrooms. A flex room is a bedroom.
Let's let the attorney answer that question. Well, how did you determine that a flex room is a bedroom?
The definition,
Pardon?
the definition of a flex room, it's like one day you could use it as a bedroom, one day you could use it as an office, one day you could use it as a sitting room, but it's a bedroom.
I'm reading the application. It says property is an existing split level with 3 bedrooms. Applicants are proposing to construct a 2nd floor addition with 857 square feet, single car garage with 290 square feet. The house will remain 3 bedrooms.
There's another paper that says 4 bedrooms on it. that's on their website.
Anybody else like to speak in favor or against this application? Hearing none. Attorney? Sure, please.
Yeah, one of the things with respect to the bedrooms, the applications get scrutinized by the health department, which is what the entity that governs septic systems, so they're very, they very much scrutinize the application and make sure that they know whether a room is a bedroom or not under the public health code. So we did receive approval from CRAD for the proposal. If I can figure out where to find the share screen button, because this does provide information I think is pertinent. So this is part of the application, the B100A application. You can see existing number of bedrooms, 3, and then building addition. And as Aaron just recited, it's an existing home with 3 bedrooms, proposing to construct a second floor addition. House will remain 3 bedrooms. And this is approved by the sanitarian. And you can see one of the benefits of CRAD is they actually put the plans in to the approval that we submitted. So you could see that the plans that we submitted to CRAD include the office, include the flex room, in their determination, and they're the ones who govern septic systems and what's a bedroom and what's not under the definition of health code. You know, they've agreed with us that this is an existing 3-bedroom and will remain a 3-bedroom. To answer the gentleman's question, on the property, the master bedroom is in the rear of the south side of the property. The garage, which is on the south side, is just a single story garage, but the master bedroom is back past that in a conforming location. So that's what, 13 plus 12, it's 25 feet from the property line roughly. Oh, and yeah, look, this is where the 4 bedrooms is. It looks like the septic system is actually approved for up to 4 bedrooms when they were doing their review. So there's a little bit of wiggle in there.
Anything else?
Yeah, the only, this is a narrow street, right? I think it's a 30-foot wide street. And that frankly is another one of the reasons why they wanted to add additional parking. So the garage, as much as people love to park on their lawns, right? I heard that in the last application. Sometimes it's not the best option, even for the neighbors in particular. So, there's a decent parking area in front of the existing garage, but adding a second garage and driveway just adds that much more parking on what's already congested street. So, I think that I know the Giminonis think it's ultimately a win-win because it's gonna relieve that potential issue. So I don't know if anybody has any other questions or thoughts or comments on the application, but we'd be happy to answer.
I'm not supposed to, but I'll take your question.
Well, it's not really a question, it's just a statement. So by putting the second driveway there, it's gonna obstruct people's views, and we actually pay taxes. View tax, we pay tax on our view.
You don't have view rights.
And my taxes are saying I'm paying for a view.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Board member discussion. Anybody? Would you like to make a motion?
We approve application 24/25-16C as shown by the zoning compliance chart appearing on drawing A 1.0 dated 11/21/24. The application approved will result in a reduction in current nonconformities of the structure coverage. It will comply with the maximum gross floor area. There will be a reduction in the intrusion into the setback on the property to the north, to the top of the drawing, by eliminating the very large overhang now and the very small intrusion into the setback on the opposite property line is a relatively, in my mind, forgivable, because that same garage, if separated from the house, could be moved even closer to the sideline setback. So to me, that is a trade-off that costs no one anything and greatly benefits the visual presentation of the house for the owners. I'm reminded to add that the building permit must be obtained within 2 years of the granting of the decision.
The plan, the date, and so forth.
The date of the plan is 11/21/24.
Okay. Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Thank you.
And
Oh, Cam,
make a motion for Cam.
I move that we approve the CAM application.
Second, Marty. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carries. Okay, and that deal is over. The chairman, Chuck Dayton, will be back.
I'm now chairing the meeting again. Job well done.
Thank you, guys, appreciate it.
Thank you. Give them 1 second to exit. We still have one meeting going.
That's right. Take care.
Okay, I'd like to, in regards to the minutes. Excuse me, people, we're having a meeting.
We're still going on here.
You can stay, but you can't talk. I need a correction on the a motion to approve 24/25-13. It's about 3/4 of the way down. It's a narrow building lot. There is an improvement, there are an improvement, ARE as opposed to AE.
No, there are improvements of the setbacks.
Yeah, but it's AE.
Yeah, so these
Are.
they are.
So we need an R in there. And what I'd like to, on the motion 24/25-14, where we refer to the ARB referral into the motion, we need to put what the referral was into the motion. Because if someone comes back to look at this, they won't know what the referral was, because
There's actually language from.
there's language from it that needs to just,
They sent us a memorandum.
yes,
Yes.
so you can just
Yeah.
stick that in. And if we do all that, can I get a motion, that were to amend it, can I get a motion to approve the
So.
amended minutes?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Correspondence and announcements?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
It's interesting, when you're not here and you're on Zoom, you forget to realize that when people present, and it's something that hasn't been submitted early and put online where the public can see it, or as commissioners, when we're not here and we log in Zoom, we can't see when they go like this, it does nothing. And I think that does the public and the commissioners a disservice. So I went to our very thick zoning regulation. And this is what zoning board of appeals, it's really a page and a half. The other half I didn't bother with. And section 71.1 authority, the zoning board of appeals has the powers and duties prescribed by these regulations in state statutes of the state of Connecticut. And the board may adopt rules and procedures necessary to exercise its authority. So what I'm proposing is, I'll read what I wrote. And then if you'd like, I'll reread it into a motion. As we recognize that occasionally an applicant has exhibits that aren't ready early enough to be submitted in time to be added to the Old Saybrook website for public viewing during that appeals public hearing. As of January 9th, 2025, the presenter of these exhibits are required to furnish the necessary equipment to screen share via Zoom or like so it'll be visible to the public and commissioners that attend online. What do you think?
I think it's very reasonable. I think it's very, very reasonable, because you're not getting the opportunity to see.
With that, I'll make a motion to approve a new rule necessary for presentation of an appeal by its applicant or presenter. That we recognize that occasionally an applicant has exhibits that aren't ready early enough to be submitted in time to be added to the Old Saybrook website for public viewing during that appeals public hearing. As of January 9th, 2025, the presenter of these exhibits are required to furnish the necessary equipment to screen share via Zoom or like so it will be visible to the public and commissioners that attend online. And before we vote on that, I'd just like to ask, anything specific that you need?
So I've never done one of these like this with this, so I'll take that when you're done with it, so I can put it word for word into the motion.
Right.
And then,
Or should we do this? Should we, because we all agree that it's a good thing. Should we run this by our attorney and
I would say let's do it.
let's do it, see if there's a
And if
problem?
they have a problem, we can
Amend it. We can amend. Very good.
But on your end.
Kevin, I'm sorry, I had a question. Was it your intention to talk about the tomorrow's date, or you want it starting today? Because you mentioned January 9th.
Know where we were gonna be here, so I used tomorrow's date in case
Okay,
we had.
no, I was just asking. I was just
Yeah,
asking.
Yeah, because this way, John, you get to see everything. Otherwise, if it's not on the website and they've stopped.
No, Chuck, it
presenting-
was simply the date. Chuck mentioned
Yeah.
tomorrow's date, not today's, that's all.
Yeah, it was-
Because if we had something today, I figured to make it cleaner if I put tomorrow's date in.
yeah.
Sorry, John, I forgot you were there.
No. It was just a question, that's all.
No, it's a good question.
As far as you're concerned.
And a better answer.
Better answer.
They can share the screen, you could accommodate.
yeah, they can, so if I promote anyone to a panelist, if they have the knowledge, they can share their screen.
Right.
And this will be, and you can put this in the applications. Make it known when people file an application or in the application,
Right.
change what it says, so they know this. Or
I
somehow,
will run it by Chris to find the right method of letting everyone know, because I don't have the.
I say we make the motion and then we could always amend it, okay? But this way, so
so the motion has been made.
So I.
Second,
all those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
great idea.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, now we don't have any committee representatives or staff reports, but we have to do election of officers. Now, the only people that can vote on the election of officers are those board members, okay? Which would be myself, Kevin Danby, Alfred Wilcock, Marty Ladd, and Aaron Caldwell. The alternates cannot vote unless they're being put in place of a seated member that would have voted.
I plan to vote.
Okay, very good.
And I nominate Chuck Gayden to be chair.
I'll second that.
All those,
I move to close the nomination.
close the nomination,
Carried.
carried.
He's the chair.
Thank you.
I nominate,
Okay,
Kevin?
I would like to make a nomination.
Okay.
I would like to nominate Aaron Colwell for vice chairman.
Vice Chairman.
Is there a second?
I second that, 100%.
Quick question.
What's that?
So, this is the second time I've done this, so we're voting for each person separately, and then one person first, and then second person second.
Right,
So for chair was,
myself,
yep, which is you, but then who voted for you?
It was unanimous.
it was unanimous.
Doesn't matter, there's no.
So we basically,
Well, who was the second?
No, there was a
I-
second. I think so.
I was the second.
you were the second, and basically, the five of us voted,
So it was Chuck first, Kevin second.
yes. And it was a unanimous vote.
And unanimous.
Now, we're voting,
Okay, who's seconded?
Sorry.
Aaron? I'll second it. Okay. Move to close
move to close nominations. All those in favor?
Aye.
Again,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Karen, and just for the record too, Erin will be on through this next year, and then she plans on in the year, hopefully moving forward. And I would like to make a motion for Kevin Danby as secretary. Could I get
Second.
second?
I move we close the nomination.
Close the nominations.
All in
Okay,
favor?
David? Aye. Unanimous.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. I would like to make a motion to adjourn. Can I get a second? All those in favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody.